I'm Megan. I'm the milliner here at English National Opera. I do making masks, wings, prop costumes sort of things. I also do the jewellery making. At the beginning of the year, we realised we were doing Benvenuto Cellini with Terry Gillingham was directing it. The designer was asking us to make a lot of items that we needed to have a lot of, and they needed to all look fairly uniform and similar. So we started to look around for a vacuum former. I managed to look up and find out about Formech. I rang them up and we got a vacuum former from them, which has worked perfectly for the projects that we're doing for Benvenuto Cellini. One of the projects that we were doing was the Swiss guards, which were the Pope's guards. The designer liked the idea of the headdresses for the Tibetan monks that would happen on the top of the headdress. Her idea was that we would have a helmet-like piece at the back, and then at the front she wanted something that looked kind of like a skull. I had a mould that was of a sort of a Grecian skull. You can see the two different halves here. So we managed to vacuum form that shape over this shape using plastizote. Then I had a face mould and I made a skull shape, and again we vacuum formed the shape of that. So what happened then was we managed to put the two together, which came out like this. We were then able to put the top piece on, quite reminiscent of the shape of the Tibetan monks. We were then able to paint up the front of the skull mask to make it silver, and then we used fabric to cover the other parts. So all the Swiss guards did look exactly the same, so that was great, yeah. One of the other big parts of Benvenuto Cellini was there was a scene where all the men's chorus and the actors were coming out of the furnace. So the challenge was to make welding masks. We did buy some, but the problem with these ones, because the singers were coming out and wearing the masks and then having to, they're on a mechanism, so they flip them back on the top of their head, so that they needed to sit up on the front of the head. But I just repositioned where the face piece was. Using this, we then made a plaster mould of that shape here. And then I was able to vacuum form the shapes over the top of that. So then I made a mask that this actually works as two pieces, if you can imagine. That piece kind of sits over the top of that one. So I made this mould here out of just polystyrene, and we covered it in a foam coat. And then we vacuum formed over the top, which then created our mould. So we were then able to mould this half, and then vacuum form this half, and then cut them all out and put the two together. They were then they were then painted up, and nails were put on them, and bolts and all sorts of things. So the decoration happened after that. The making of the mould took a bit of time, but once we had the mould, then we could reproduce as many as we wanted, really. Because we could vacuum form the basic shapes to put them together, it just cut the process time down. Like if we had to try and hand make each individual one and have them so they all look the same, it would have taken us forever. Got the vacuum form machine for one particular reason, but as I started using the machine, I realised there were more and more applications and more ways that I could use it. So it was a good, the more I use it, the more I learn.